All right, guys, today we are learning about slope-intercept form. We're going to take everything that we learned about slope and apply it to writing equations in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b, where we're just talking about lines on the graph, straight lines. That's it. A straight line going up, a straight line going down, a straight line going across, and a straight line going up and down. Positive slopes, negative slopes, undefined slopes, and zero slopes. And we're going to apply it to slope-intercept form. All right, so y is equal to mx plus b. What do the letters actually stand for? Well, m stands for my slope. Slope, aka my rise over run, or my change in y all over my change in x. Well, what does B stand for? B stands for my y-intercept. Basically, where does the graph cross the y-axis? Remember, the y-axis goes up and down and the x-axis goes left and right. So my y-intercept, kind of think of it as it's in the name, is going to cross my y-axis. All right, so given the slope and the y-intercept of a line, we're going to write the equations in slope-intercept form. All right, so they're telling me that my slope is 2. Well, we know that m stands for slope, so therefore, this means that m is equal to 2. Well, they said my y-intercept, totally spelled that wrong. My y-intercept is 1. So I know that B stands for my y-intercept. So that means that B is equal to positive 1. I'm sorry. All right, so I can take what I know and literally substitute it into that equation. Y is equal to mx plus b. Notice I haven't said anything about y and x because when I'm writing them in slope-intercept form, they don't matter. The only two things that matter are my slope and my y-intercept. Think of it as in the name, slope-intercept form. All I care about is slope and the y-intercept. So y is equal to m, which is my slope, 2. And my y-intercept is a plus 1 because it's positive. So y is equal to 2x plus 1 is my slope-intercept form. Well, what if my slope is negative 3/5? Well, I still know that m stands for slope. So that means that m is equal to negative 3/5. And they said my y-intercept is a negative 4. And I know that b stands for my y-intercept. So I can just substitute them into the equation. So y is equal to mx plus b. Well, what is m? It's negative 3/5. And what is my y-intercept? It's a negative 4. All right. What if my slope is a 1/4, positive 1/4, and my y-intercept is a 0? So that means if slope is 1/4, that means my m is 1/4 because that's what slope stands for. And my y-intercept, aka b, is 0. So y is equal to mx plus b. M is 1/4. And my y-intercept is 0. So I don't have to put nothing because I don't have one. So if you did put something, it would look like this. And then I would say, yo, you need to simplify that. And you're going to say, what you mean? I mean, when you don't add 0 to nothing, I mean, you just don't get nothing. So y is equal to 1/4 x. If you don't have a y-intercept, you won't have a constant. Remember, a constant is just a number, solo dolo. So if you won't have a y-intercept, you ain't going to have no constant. So a slope of 0, which means m is 0, and and a y-intercept of positive 7. That means b is 7. So substitute it in. Y is equal to mx, so 0 times x, and my y-intercept is a positive 7. And I'm going to say again, you got to simplify that. What is 0 times x? Is 0. So y is equal to 7. So if you ain't got no slope, you're not going to have an x value, because slope is connected to my x value. So if you ain't got no slope, you ain't going to have no x value. Now, let's look at some graphs. All right, we're going to take the same thing, y is equal to mx plus b, but they didn't give us no numbers. They didn't tell me what it is. They didn't tell me what the y-intercept was or the slope was, so I got to find it. So identify the slope and the y-intercept of the line on the graph. Then write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to identify what my slope and my y-intercept is. So y-intercept, that's what we're going to talk about first. My y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So this is my y-axis because it's, going up and down. So I just want to know, where does this line cross that y-axis? And it crosses it right here. So I need to figure out what that point is, what that number is. So remember, I always start from my origin. Starting from my origin, which is 0, I'm going to count down till I get to that point. So if I'm counting down, that means that my y-intercept is going to be negative, because I'm counting down from my origin. I'm counting down 1, 2, 3, 4. So my y-intercept is a negative 4. But now I need to find my slope. So I got 2 points up here. And I'm going to find my slope, aka my rise over my run. Rise over run. All right, so my rise over run. I am trying to meet these 2 points. So obviously, it looks like I'm going to have to go up. So if I'm going up, how many times? 1, 2, 3. I went up, meaning positive. How many times did I go up? 3. Well, I'm trying to meet that point, so I got to run, because rise over run. I'm going to go to the right 1. So since I went to the right, that's positive. And how many times did I go to the right? 1. So my rise over run is a positive 3 all over a positive 1, which is aka my slope. All right, so slope intercept form. Y is equal to m, which is 3 over 1. And my y-intercept is a negative 4. One more example. All right, let's identify our y-intercept first. Remembering it crosses the y-axis, and it's crossing it right here at this point. So starting from my origin, I'm going to go up. So if I go up, obviously my y-intercept is going to be positive. How many times am I going up from my origin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I went up 7. So I need to find my rise over run. Trying to meet these 2 points. So from here to here, I need to rise and run. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went down negative 6 units. All right, so trying to meet these points, obviously I'm going to have to go to the right. Going to the right means positive to the right. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went to the right, which means positive. How many times? 4. So my slope is my rise over run is a negative 6 over a positive 4. But we simplify every single thing. We simplify everything when we're talking about slope. So this simplifies to a -3/2. So write it in slope-intercept form. My slope is -3/2, and my y-intercept is a +7. All right. Have any questions? Make sure you ask me in class.